Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Dee, also known as the Story Girl, and today I have a story for you. Being in the year 2021, it actually marks the 5th year that I have been zero waste. And I know it's a really popular topic. I post a lot about it on my Instagram and just sharing with friends in my life, and I thought I'd just share with you how I became zero waste and all the many challenges and disasters really that happened along the way. So let's get into it. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, there was a girl watching YouTube, as one does. And this girl was me, of course. I was watching YouTube and I was watching, can you guess, a tiny home video interview, which is one of my favorite things to watch on YouTube. So 5 years ago, and now nothing has really changed. But during this YouTube video about a tiny home owner, this lady mentioned zero waste. And I was like, what is this zero waste? And then she mentioned the book by Bea Johnson. And I was like, who is this Bea Johnson lady? So of course I went on the Google and I looked up her book. And then what I always do when I find a good book is I go to my library website and see if my library has the book. And guess what? My library had the book at my local branch. So I was super stoked. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get this book right now. So I went out and I grabbed my bicycle and I zoomed off to my local library branch to get my book. So I read this book, started to see plastic everywhere, and realized, your mind gets kind of mind blown, and then you realize you can't unsee all the plastic that you use in your life and all the trash that you produce. And it's a very powerful feeling. If you've ever gone through this experience, you'll know how challenging it is to avoid plastic once you realize that there is no end life for plastic and it does not biodegrade, but it just breaks down and gets eaten by animals and goes into our oceans and so on. But if you're anyways at all interested in zero waste, you know all those things. So I was thrust kind of into this realization, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to change my life. And I did. I just right away was like, okay, I need to, not buy shampoo anymore. I need to do all my grocery shopping without plastic. I need to blah, 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 get rid of all plastic in my life. So obviously that's easier said than done. So I was just on the hunt, I had this thirst for information. I was looking on YouTube, on the internet, all kinds of different websites and blogs that I was following to try and find alternatives. That's the big thing, is you want to find alternatives to all these plastic things. But it was very interesting because right around the time that all this was happening, when I just was a little fledgling, baby zero waster, I was about to move overseas internationally to Asia. So I'd gotten a job teaching English for the very first time, and I was about to move overseas. So I was like, oh goodness, who knows what options will be there for me where I'm going. Plus, I won't be able to speak the language very well, so I really need to try and get things in order here. So I was really invested in getting certain things like hair care and products like that I thought would be hard to find over there. So I read, I was a deep diver on Bea Johnson's Instagram account, and I saw that she just uses one soap bar, one single soap bar for everything, any body care that she has, hair, body, everything, one bar. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. What soap bar is that? And then she said it's the whatever, I forget what it's called. It's one of the ones you can buy at Whole Foods. It's really cheap. It's unpackaged. You can buy it without any packaging. So I went out and I bought, 7 of these soap bars. And they're really nice. They weren't that expensive. I took a big long drive to Whole Foods, which isn't very common actually in Canada. Whole Foods is not that common here because it's an American company. So I did, kind of make a special trip and drive to another city to get these soap bars, and it was a whole thing. Let me tell you. All right, So I got my soap bars, thought I was set for life. I had to move my whole life to the other side of the world. I went with one suitcase, and I got there and I started teaching. And of course, there's a lot of stress with moving and setting up your new place, and lots going on. And I started to realize that my hair was just so gross. Like, my hair is dirty right now. Like, I need to take a shower. So that's why it looks darker than it is. But it was like grimy. Like, it was like almost like greasy, thick, chunky. And I was just like, oh gosh, what is this? And then I started to do some research, and I realized that most people on the internet, the consensus is that you can't really use a regular soap bar that you would use like for washing your hands or for washing your body. You can't use that to wash your hair. Some people can, but for the most people, just doesn't do their hair very well. And I was like, Mia Johnson, let me down. But my problem was I was stuck on the other side of the world in like a small town in Asia with no options for zero waste alternatives. So I started to do baking soda, the baking soda wash, because I was like, okay, you know what, I need to clean my hair, like I need to have a solution for this. So I started the baking soda and water like dilution for washing your hair. Even though I did read someplace online that it wasn't good for your hair, I was still like, you know what, I want to try it, and I'm stuck, and like it's one of my only zero waste solutions because I can just make it, like I can just make it from scratch. So I did it for a few weeks, and I kid you not, I remember one day going into the washroom, like in the middle of a teaching day, going into the washroom and like looking in the mirror in the women's washroom and being like, doing this. There was like a shower of snow, like a dandruff falling from my hair. Like it was just like as if snow was falling, and I was like, this is so nasty. I was like, I can't do this. So I was like on these crazy, like I was like trying to rack the internet like for any solutions. So I did, what else did I do? I did a raw egg rinse. Surprisingly, it was like fairly effective. Yeah, and I am so surprised all this time. This was like months. I never caved and bought an actual bottle of shampoo. Like I was so determined and so like fixated on trying to reduce my plastic that I never caved. And I was so glad. I was like thousands of miles away from home, thousands of kilometers on the other side of the world, because I was like, if anyone knew what my real hair looked like, they would be so appalled. But like they just think this is normal. This is the only way that they've known me. So I was so glad I was with all these strangers on the other side of the world, because my hair was that bad. And I'm not really a vain person. Like if you know me well, or you know me in real life, or you get to know me in this channel, I'm really chill. Like I shower once a week, and I'm low maintenance. You know, I'm like showing out here up on the internet with, you know, no makeup on, and I don't really care. But I was like feeling it. Oh, I was feeling it. I was just embarrassed, and I was like, oh gosh, what have I got myself into? Well, I realized there were things called shampoo bars, and I think I asked family from home to send me some, and then I also like made some friends, and I think someone introduced me to a different company, and somehow I ended up on shampoo bars. But this was after about like 8 or 9 months of really bad hair. So now let's get to the stinky part, because I am not kidding when I said in my video title that I have had a very stinky zero waste experience. So I'm not one of those blessed people in the world who does not have body odor. I have body odor. So I know some people don't, and I wish I was so fortunate, but that is not the case. So I've always needed deodorant, and I've always just used like the generic, whatever you get in the drugstore, you know, Dove or Secret or whatever, regular deodorants, and I never thought anything of it until going zero waste, plastic free, I was like, oh, how do I do deodorant? So again, the blogs, the the alternatives, making your own. And so at the time that I had moved to Asia, right after starting my zero waste journey, I had just maybe like 2 months before that gone to Costco to buy deodorant, or to buy stuff, and got some deodorant. And if any of you guys know anything about Costco, it is a bulk warehouse. So I had bulk deodorant. So I think I had like 4 or 5 sticks of deodorant still. So for a lot of my first year of zero waste, I still was just using that deodorant. Like I was still going through it, because personally I think the point of zero waste is not to just throw out what you have before, but to use it up until you can finish it and then replace it with something that's zero waste. Because again, we're trying to make our waste zero, unless it's something that's really toxic or really harmful, then it's up to your discretion. But that's just my personal policy. So I used that deodorant for a while, and then I started to try and use natural deodorants, and I had, oh goodness, I tried the crystal, the deodorant crystal, when I was living in Europe. I was like really broke when I was living in Europe, because it's really expensive. It's like shelled out my hard-earned euros on this deodorant crystal, and it worked like a charm for like 4 weeks, and then it just stopped like that. It just didn't work anymore, like not at all, and I just was stinky. And it was super frustrating, because I was like, I don't want to go out and just buy a plastic deodorant from the drugstore, a cheap one. Like I want to have a zero waste one, have a plastic free one. How can I do this, and what are my alternatives? And it was like a lot of stress, and meanwhile every day that goes by that you're not using you're not having deodorant, obviously you smell. So, oh goodness, gosh guys, like I started to have to become comfortable with my own body odor, and then yeah, just trying to make my own and follow recipes online. Some were successful, some were not, and for a few years I used an oil-based deodorant that I made myself, and I realized it was like ruining all of my t-shirts. So that was also not a great solution. Like it worked well, but it left a residue on my t-shirts, on like in the armpit stains. And then for a while I used like one of those North American brands. Like I didn't use the famous one like Meow Meow Tweet, but I used another one, Routine I think it's called, and someone gave it to me. So that was really nice, because I think it's like $25 for just a small jar of it. Like it's really, really expensive. So I never would have bought it myself, but someone I think gifted it to me, which was really nice. So like when that ran out, I was like, oh dang, what am I gonna do? So only actually recently have I really settled on like an amazing recipe, and I can show you. I hope I don't lose my focus. Like this camera has not been good to me. So this is my zero waste deodorant now, and it's actually water-based, but it's baking soda based with some essential oils and tea tree oil. So it works really well. You're probably like, what is this? This is a roller ball. So it just rolls on and dries, and so you don't get those armpit stains. So if you're interested, I can send you the recipe. Happy to share. I just make it myself, super cheap. Because honestly, zero waste deodorants, they are quite expensive, so I understand why people struggle to like spend that money. But man, it has been like a stinky, I don't know, first 3 years I would say, but even in the last year or so, I have had my moments where I'm just like, oh, what is happening? So it's been full of pros and cons, that's for sure. So one thing about that first year of being zero waste, which was also really cool but funny, is I was obviously in a different country completely and had my own apartment. I had a roommate. So it was really nice, because when you have your own place, you can control your environment. So you can, you know, have a lot of control over what do you use in the kitchen, or what do you use to clean your floors, or what do you buy and bring into your home. So that was like really special, because I was really like in my own home environment, and I could dictate, you know, what I wanted to buy and what I didn't. But yeah, I remember my poor roommate, like one time she told me later that she had gone out to buy groceries for us, and I always like, take the reusable bags. And I had become like so good at refusing plastic bags, and she had like forgotten, or I don't know, like gotten the groceries with plastic bags, and she like had to hide. She was like, she felt so guilty, she had to hide them and like pretend that she didn't get them, and like this whole thing. And I was definitely really intense, and I think like I've definitely chilled over the years. I still really strongly believe in zero waste, and I am still zero waste, but having also to share the last 4 years, 3 or 4 years, I have shared space with people. So I've shared community space or kitchens or apartments with people that haven't necessarily been, a lot of it hasn't been my own space. So it's been challenging to learn to live with other people's ways and to, yeah, kind of let go of those things. But it's been really great. I still really believe in zero waste. I still think it's really valuable. I've learned so much. I like how it also, like the zero waste and minimalism and plastic free lifestyle, I think in some ways it does push us to be creative and seek alternatives and actually learn more from the earth and from ancient traditions that we have lost a lot in our, especially in our generation, especially in certain societies, more Western societies. We've kind of lost touch with those practices. So I think it's really beneficial, but it's also very flawed. And the only thing I would say, like with my story at the beginning about the soap bar, like I just trusted what this person said, which was fine because probably that did work for them, but you have to find out what works for you. And it's going to be a process of trial and error because everyone has different hair, everyone has different skin, everyone has different, you know, water and different circumstances. So I think it's important not to compare your life and your journey to someone else's. And I think it's more important that we take those efforts and make those steps, you know, even if it's a small, you know, small change like in the kitchen, or a small change in the bathroom or in your house, or, you know, you choose to walk instead of driving one day. Those are all adding up to big changes. So I would encourage you, I hope this made you smile and that it's a bit lighthearted and you can laugh at yourself because, and I hope you can laugh at me, feel free. Because that's the beauty of it as well, like learning to be humble and also to realize like, oh yeah, I do value, I'm actually more vain than I realized. So it's, yeah, it's always a journey of self-discovery. So hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.